Alright, so one of the online students asked me a question about Kung Fu healthcare. I just wanted to make a quick video response. It's just easier, than typing for me. Um, so he said, how do you, as a Kung Fu instructor, how do you deal with colds, illnesses, dental issues, and vision issues? Um, Big part of Kung Fu is taking care of your health. It's about living longer. You know, you're supposed to be like pretty much like your own doctor, not dependent on other doctors. You know, but to figure out and protect your health, so you can live a very long time. As far as colds are concerned and flus, it's all about eating healthy, getting good sleep, and you know, just covering up. Make sure that you wear layers and proper clothing during the cold season, and you might drink teas and um, use like natural foods to help heal you from those type of elements. Also taking, make sure you take showers every day, at least, and to wash your hands quite often, and stay away from other people that are sick. Cover your mouth when you're sneezing and cover your nose and all that, and just try not to touch your nose and your mouth with your hands too often. Just protecting yourself from those elements. Constantly cleaning, wiping things down. Um, sanitation is extremely important. Making sure that you're washing your clothes, you're washing your socks, and you're always wearing clean clothing. And when you're exercising, you're wiping your sweat and you're cleaning the facility very well with cleaning solutions and bleach, and um, this also all about great hygiene. The better hygiene that you have, make sure that you keep your bed clean, your clothes clean, your car clean, your home clean, clean clean air to breathe. All these things are factors. You know, um, so it's all about, a lot of it is more about yourself, taking care of yourself. Um, just like what I talked about, the ground fighting type of things. You ground fight with people, you're more susceptible to like ringworm and certain type of rashes and skin diseases. You need to um, just protect yourself. Try to take a shower right away. After you exercise. Clean off that sweat, and that skin to skin contact with another human being is not good. When there's a lot of sweat involved and all that, and those illnesses. If somebody's sick and ill, and then you're rolling around the ground with the person, it's just not healthy. So you need to stay healthy, stay away from people that are sick and people that don't take care of themselves, people that don't have good hygiene. Just keep a distance from those people, you know. And it goes along with training the proper way. Even when you go to the gym and people are sweating all over the machines and stuff like that, maybe you should bring your own towel and wipe down the sweat before you sit down in that machine, or just maybe stay away from the gym altogether and work out in a facility that's cleaner. You always want to be cleaning things and cleaning yourself. As far as dental issues are concerned, you need to get a lot of calcium in your body, and try to stay away from sweets. Don't eat too much candy or ice cream, and brush your teeth constantly, at least twice a day, sometimes even more. Make sure that you floss every day. There's a toothbrush called Sonicare that is a very great electronic toothbrush that cleans your teeth very well. Um, you have to take care of yourself in those regards. Um, when you do take care of yourself, you're less dependent on those dentists and doctors and things like that. As far as vision issues, I mean, I think some of it is nutrition, but genetically you might be inclined to have bad vision, so you might have to get those things corrected. Luckily, I don't have to worry about that, but maybe making sure you're not reading in the dark and things like that. Don't watch too much TV. Maybe that could protect your vision. But fact of the matter is, if your employer doesn't have health benefits for you and you're self-employed, you need to see how much money you're making and whether or not you qualify for government assistance. If you aren't making that much money as a business owner, then you might qualify for government assistance as far as like free healthcare is concerned. If you qualify, then great, then you get the free coverage. But if you don't qualify, then they're pretty much saying that you should be able to afford it out of pocket. So if you got to pay for the stuff out of pocket, then you just have to make sure that you take care of your teeth more often so that you don't need to go to the dentist. Make sure that you're brushing properly, flossing properly, making sure that you're taking care of your body. If you don't do all that ground fighting, you don't get those rashes and ringworm, then you don't need to go to the doctor for it. But you can also go to Walgreens and get over the counter medication to try to see if you can heal whatever illness that you have without having to go to the doctor. Sometimes just taking Tylenol, or they have that the ringworm ointment called like I think like Lotrimin or something like that you could use. Usually there's over the counter medicine that you could use to heal whatever issues that you're having without having to actually go to the doctor. I personally never really go to the doctor unless it's like something that I just cannot heal on my own, and that might happen every like one or maybe every 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I might have to go to the doctor. If it's some type of skin condition that I need a special cream or ointment, um, then I'll go to the doctor for that. But I haven't been going to the dentist because I've been taking care of my teeth, with the Sonicare and the flossing. But just recently I went to the dentist and I had a cleaning. You know, um, Never really had to worry about my vision. But it's the more that you take care of yourself, not just in regards to like learning how to defend yourself and how to shoot guns, but taking care of your hygiene and just you know like keeping things clean. I mean, nutrition, sleep. I mean, these are all things outside of the actual kung fu combative training that is going to help you live longer. So you need to, as I stated, become your own doctor, heal yourself. I use a lot of Whitlock for aches and pains and self massage type of therapy, a lot of stretching, and taking showers every single day, washing my hair every day, and wearing clean clothes, making sure I'm keeping all my clothes clean, making sure that my training facility is clean, wherever I sleep is clean, my home is clean, my car is clean, constantly brushing my teeth at least twice a day or more, um, flossing, and I rarely get sick. And then now I don't really bike in the winter anymore. I just drive my car, because when you bike in the winter, you're it's just so much easier to get sick. Making sure that you wear proper clothing in the wintertime, staying away from people that are sick, washing your hands quite often. I mean, these are all important things that you need to do. Um, but like I said, that's pretty much what it is. Even though I do have health care, I barely use it for myself. Like, I never go to the doctor. And I haven't been going to the dentist for like 7 years because I just take care of my own teeth. Drink milk, get a lot of calcium to keep your teeth strong, and constantly brushing. This is all preventative care. You know, um, people that get heart attacks and cancer and diabetes and all this stuff. If they take their bodies for granted, they don't exercise, they don't eat healthy, they barely sleep. There's only so much a doctor could do. Kung Fu, a lot of it is about preventative care. Just doing what you need to do to protect yourself from illnesses, and just living longer. You know, through your own, um, your own efforts into bettering your health. When you get really good at Kung Fu, you become less dependent on those types of professionals. You become more self-sufficient in what you do. And especially with the rising cost of the healthcare, this makes it very important for us, to take care of ourselves. So that's pretty much what it is. Um, look into the government assistance for the healthcare. If you don't qualify, then the government is saying something. You're making enough money to pay for it for yourself. So if you got to go to the dentist and it costs you a couple $100 every 6 months, then that's just what you got to pay. You go to the doctor and he charges you $200 for a prescription, then that's just what you're gonna have to pay. You just gotta pay out of pocket. So it just gives you more of an incentive to take care of yourself. And don't do stupid things. And that's another thing. When we spar, we gotta be very careful when we spar because one injury could just cost you thousands of dollars. You're sparring and then you lose a tooth. You're sparring, you get your nose broken. You're sparring and then you know you get your collarbone broken. You're sparring and your kneecap breaks. You're sparring and then you tear your ACL. I mean, all these injuries you're gonna have to pay for out of pocket. This is stuff, and you're not getting paid when you spar. You're not a you're not like a professional boxer who's getting paid millions or thousands of dollars to fight. You're sparring for free, and for every single injury that you sustain, you got to pay out of pocket. So makes it even more important that when you spar very intelligently, and very safely. You know, yes, you want to try to make it realistic, but you need to protect your health. You need to protect your safety, and you need to be smart. These are all things that have to be put in consideration.